Hey, it's Stephen Williams with Blue Book Milwaukee and Elite Advertising Agency. In today's video, we're going to talk about churn rate, which is very important for businesses. But before I get to that, I wanted to go over just real quickly the differences between the way that we're marketing for companies right now and the way that people have been doing it in the past. Or most people, some people are lead generating. Um, we were talking with doing a presentation for a customer, or one of my sales reps was doing a presentation for a customer, and he asked a good question. He said, what is the difference between what I'm doing now with you and this new program that you're offering me? And to break it down, when we did the questionnaire, and if you saw one of my other videos, we have a questionnaire that we ask every business to see if they qualify for what we're doing. And during his sales process, we asked him, we said, uh, what do you do? What is your sales process? And he said, basically, when people call, he has a young lady that answers, and if they qualify for for what they're doing for their business, then they try to get them into their program, and that becomes a sale. And so the first thing that we said is, what do you do with all the people that don't qualify at that time, or what do you do with all the people that maybe called and then they left a message and you wasn't able to get back in touch with them? And he said, well, there's nothing we could do. Maybe they'll call back. So what we told him is that what we're from seeing that happen with businesses, we always try to improve and make businesses better. And the way that we've done that with our online advertising department is that we concentrate on getting the lead. So we asked him about how many calls you get from the ads that you run with us per month in print, and he said about 200 calls. So out of all of those, he's not able to get in touch with all of the people that left messages, that called after business hours, or the young lady called people back and they didn't answer. And then also the people that called in, if she was on the line, then they would have to leave a message. So it would just they wasn't able to get to as many people that they possibly could out of that 200. And what we told them is that, what if we could make sure that if you had 200 people that filled out a form online, you would have all of their information, and then you would be in control of being able to contact all of those individuals, but also you would have them in a database to where you could keep reminding them about that they had clicked your ad, and that if they're still interested, to either give the office a call, but also the office would be able to continue following up on them. And so this is an automated system of being able to continually contact those leads because they were interested in what you had to offer. If you go with this plan here, with what the old style of doing things, even if you didn't make a sale, so say you got 200 calls here, you're not able to get back in touch with people, the people that you did talk to didn't qualify, and then you had 200 calls here that were leads, that we got name, email, and phone number. You would continually, and let me throw this in, and you only had $1,000 budget for that month on your ads. Which way would you be able to try to make your $1,000 back? You can't make people call if they called and then they either left their information and you're trying to follow back up on them. That's going to be a small amount of people. And then the people that called and didn't leave their information, you're not going to have those people's names and information. And you might have it on caller ID, but are you going to try to call that individual back? Absolutely not. But if you concentrate and you have the name, email, phone number of all of those individuals that saw your information, and you simply sent them a reminder email once a week about what you had to offer, you would be able to start chipping away at what you spent on your advertising. And then you would be able to also call them each day to ask them if they were still interested in what you had to offer, so you can see how you can make your money back using this system. And that's all we're doing. That's what we teach people with our program. That's what we do for people with our program. So now, and that seems so simple, but it took me a while to even concentrate on getting leads. When I started concentrating first on getting the leads, it opened up my businesses for a lot more because you're able to just uh, do so much when you have that data and that information to follow up on rather than continually advertising and just waiting on calls to come in. Now let's talk about churn rate. It's very important. The example that I'll use is for a cell phone company. I remember years ago, I won't mention his name, but he had talked about a churn rate, and I was like, well, what do you mean churn rate? That he was like, cell phone companies live on a churn rate, and the churn rate means that the number of people that get out that either for some reason leave their company or don't pay their bill and they don't become a customer. So it's basically like this. Every month they're going to have up and down where they may get 100 customers but they lose 50 customers. They may get 200 new customers and they lose 125 customers. And it just goes up on and on. And so what you have to do, and what he explained what he had to do as a business, is that he had to stay on top of the churn rate. That meant that no matter what they did as a business, they could not allow that to either be even or they couldn't allow that to be under. So they couldn't gain 100 customers and lose 150, because then he knows that their business is in trouble if they kept that cycle going on where they were gaining 100 but losing 150. So he was like, no matter what, we had to advertise and keeping that churn, and also try to keep the churn rate level down. With our program, let me tell you how we fix that. And also, every business, you may not see it this way, but every business has a churn rate. It could be where your customer pays their complete bill. So, for example, let's just take away cell phone, and let's just say this month you signed up 50 customers, but also this month 50 customers finished paying for your program, or they paid off their payments that they owed to you. So that would be the end of that cycle for them. So you have to replace that group of customers, or you're going to have your income, your profits are going to go down the next month. So every business goes through a churn rate. So let me tell you how to fix and stay on top of a churn rate. And I have a lot of experience in this, because with one of my companies, this exact thing happened when I did a changeover where I decided to, there were some employees that were not working out with the company, where I had to get rid of some of them. And what happened was the churn rate for my business was actually higher than what we were bringing in on a customer basis, and that was because we were focused on staffing, on upgrading the staff. But the thing that saved me from having a problem with the churn rate, and when I started seeing that, I instantly started turning that around, and that was with the leads. In my database, over the last few years, I've added 25,000, it's more than that, but 25,000 plus leads of people that didn't even buy from me. They just continually, they had got on our list because they had saw my ad and they were interested in the products and services, and so but they had never bought from me. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up marketing to them more for our products and services. So these were leads that I had already paid for. They were on my list. They opted in. They were interested in my products and services. But at whatever time something was going on in their life, whatever, they didn't have the money or whatever, they just didn't decide to buy. But when I started remarketing hard to that list, normally I would send a daily email to this list, and people always would sign up. But what I started doing is I got even more creative in sending better offers to that list, and it jumped the sales. Sales increased, and we got on top of our churn rate. And now that we've got everybody in place, we're ready to scale from this list, and also back to scaling with our advertising. So it's very important to for a business to, number one, stay on top of your churn rate. But this is a tool that you can use to stay on top of your churn rate, because if things get slow, you always can market to your list of people that were interested in your products and services. And that goes back into the video into what I had just talked about earlier, where if you're just continually advertising and you're bringing in the calls, and sometimes you're getting the information of the customer, and some of the times when you're talking to a person, they don't want to give you all of that information because they believe that they're going to be sold. And yes, some people won't give you their information online because they believe that they're going to be sold. But I tell you that it's in your business's best interest to pay for the people that are interested in your products and services, that will leave their name, email, and phone number, and then you forward them to you to look at what you got to offer with your products and services. So again, please, if you're interested in having your getting a presentation or demonstration for your business to see how we can help you grow your list by doing lead generation for your business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. We've done this for doctors, we've done this for hospitals, we've done it for attorneys, we've done it for cell phone stores, restaurants, we've done it for marketing companies that wanted to get more clients. It doesn't matter, home health care, daycare, we can do it for you. Mechanics, we can do it for you, and it can get your churn rate down. But number one, it can jumpstart your business, because you're going to be, number one, getting more leads, and you're going to have more activity with your business, and also you're going to be able to be in front of what your competition is doing, because most of your competition is doing things the old way. So if you want to contact me, my name is Stephen Williams, number 262-880-6964. That is a U.S. number. I've noticed that we've got some people from overseas that have been sending us emails, and they contacting us about helping them with their market their products and services. All right, until next time, thanks a lot. Bye.